Okay, part 2, we're gonna get into it right away, but before that, just one thing. I did touch on this a little bit. If you want to hear about that, hear more about this topic, search in this same rant series, search are debates and labels necessary? Watch part 1 and part 2 of that, because I touched on this very same topic in those other rants. Now, let's get into the social media side and the Facebook side. Here's the thing. First, I don't believe it's possible for you to truly be transparent and accountable if you are closer to Facebook group people than to your local church members. When it comes to Facebook, when it comes to online interactions, you can fake it. You can think of what to type. You can decide on the words you will use. You can decide when to go online, when to go offline, how you perceive or how others would perceive you based on the words you say. If you put smileys, you use GIFs, things like that. It's just so much easier to fake being holy online. It's harder to fake when you're face to face. Why? You could be rolling your eyes, you could be doing this, or whatever facial expressions or physical gestures that you do when you're talking to someone. Someone will be talking to you and you just shrug, you fold your arms and you go, whatever. Your eyebrows do this, and it's just harder to fake. Generally, when you're hang out with each other, and let's say a glass falls and you go, oh, toot, you swear, you cuss. These are things that you can easily avoid online, but you cannot avoid this face to face. If you're attending church with your best friends, with people, your accountability partners, when you go to church, what happens is they can see you. If you're falling asleep during the sermon, if you're listening, if you're taking notes, if you're just going or if you're criticizing the preacher, or so there's so many things that just is easily faked online. So there's no real accountability, there's no real transparency. They will only know the things about you that you actually share with them. If you don't share something with them, they won't spot it. So that's the first thing. Accountability and transparency is just so easily faked. Second issue is your submission. It's very difficult to learn about submission and to humbly submit yourself to your pastors if you treat your local church, your Sunday church, as just an obligation, but you're actually closer. You've got friends who are closer to you online, and they're closer, but not really closer. They don't really know you. You just feel closer to them, and they feel closer to you, but you guys aren't really close. Why? You don't really know each other. You don't know each other's quirks, gestures, habits, little things like sharing food. If someone asks for food, or if you're driving around and someone hits you on the shoulder and you just look at them sideways in a really bad way, people will know you more when they spend actual time with you. If you don't spend time with each other, physical time, you won't really know others and they won't really know you. So when you talk about online dating, I'm like, nope, that's not really gonna happen. It's not really gonna work. Okay, there's a disclaimer there somewhere. I'm not gonna make the disclaimer here, but I've got another rant about that, online dating and stuff. All right, but going back. So number one, you lose transparency, you lose accountability. That doesn't really happen for people who are closer to online people. Secondly, there's this pseudo submission. You kind of tend to submit, but not really. And when you try to submit to your pastors, if they disagree, you'd be like, but I've got an online group of friends anyway, and I submit to those guys. So it's just more confusing that way. There's no real submission. Your pastors also won't really know what's happening with you, what's happening with your life, and you won't really get to know the people around you in church. And that leads me to the third. Overall, it's your sanctification. Because what's the goal of transparency and accountability? It's your sanctification. What's the goal of people knowing you knowing people, and submitting to your leaders, your elders? Obviously, it's for sanctification, to be more and more holy in different areas of your life. Now, sanctification cannot happen in these online groups precisely because you've got nobody who's watching over you, nobody who's observing your life, right? So you're just faking everything. Now, here's the thing. You would say, well, I don't feel very close to the people in church. That's why I just ended up going online. I would say this. If you don't have a physical challenge to go to church, meaning maybe if you're not bedridden, if you're not stuck in a wheelchair that cannot be moved, or I don't know, that doesn't make sense because wheelchairs do move. So if you're not bedridden, if you're not hospitalized, if you don't have, I don't know, some kind of, germ phobia to germs, or agoraphobia or something like that, the fear of going out of your house, if you don't have that, I would say make the effort, get to know them. I don't really like them. You maybe haven't known them enough, you don't know them well enough, and you didn't allow them to get to know you well enough to actually like them and eventually love them. If you say, well, I love these online people because they're all so nice and friendly and warm, you haven't met them in person. They're nice and friendly and warm because they can just type, a smiley there, they put a emoji there, and they look nice and friendly, but you don't know if they're just laughing behind the screen. They're giggling, they're mocking, whatever. Or they're going to say, oh, this guy's annoying. Hey, brother, peace to you. But, oh, this guy's so annoying. You don't know that, right? You don't. And so it's just not going to be genuine. I've seen this many times. People who feel that they're so close online, they finally meet. When they meet, they're like, that guy was kind of a jerk. Or that girl was kind of, nosy. Or that was kind of gossipy when we met. That wasn't what I expected. So there's so many things that could be so different because online is different from your real self when you're face to face. Your sanctification is so important for your Christian growth. Some people, and I know this, there are some people who has their identity in the Facebook group. My identity is I'm the theologian of this group. I'm the founder of this group. I'm an admin of this group. I'm the moderator of this group. I'm the head of this or that group. I have made so many groups, or some people even, they like the feeling of having an authority online because they cannot get authority in a church. Like in a church setting, actual church setting, they don't have the qualifications to be an elder or a deacon or a deaconess or whatever. So they go online and they become admins there, and then they power trip there. I've seen that so many times over the past several years, and that's just not helpful. There's so many things that Christian Facebook groups do or allow people to do that maybe the Bible does not give them permission yet. Maybe they're not sanctified enough. They're not mature enough. Maybe they've got personality quirks that they can hide online. Therefore, they get all these permissions from Facebook that a normal church would not allow them to do. So those are certain things, right? The other thing I would say is if you start to become closer to people of the opposite sex online, and they go to a different church, that's just so much more complication. And really, a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times it's recipe for self-sabotage, for disappointment, for frustration, and for a lot of bitterness because of so many different factors that people don't really see, right? They get sucked in, they get deceived into feeling, oh, I'm already in love with this person. Oh, we're already in love when you've never really hung out. Things like that. Those are things that you gotta really think about, pray about. So my suggestion is, focus more of your time on your local church members. Be a formal member of your church. If you don't have formal membership in your church, then consider reading the book 9 Marks of a Healthy Church. Learn more about that. But yeah, focus more of your time on the actual members of your actual local church. Spend less time on these Facebook groups, unless, of course, again, if you're bedridden or whatever, but if not that, then, try it. Just try it, focus it. The other thing I would say is this. If there are challenges, okay, remember this. The goal is sanctification and not comfort. Again, the goal is sanctification and not comfort. So don't look for these friends in your local church who make you feel happy. But look for those friends who are actually mature in the faith and want to see you grow because they are also growing as well. I hope this helps. Please don't be mad at me. This is just a warning. It's just my opinion. God bless you guys and hope you guys stay safe from COVID.